Hi, I'm Joy Houston, and today we're going to make some lemon tarts. Now, generally, lemon bars or lemon tarts have tons of flour, butter, sugar, eggs, all the stuff that we're sort of avoiding on a vegan diet, and certainly on a raw vegan diet. So I came up with an alternative to my mother-in-law's lemon bars. She makes the most amazing lemon bars, but of course she's old school, so I'm not even going to tell you about the stuff that's in there. Lots and lots and lots of sugar and butter and yummy good stuff. But when I was up there visiting one time, I thought, I gotta make some sort of, version of this recipe where I can enjoy that yummy flavor and I can sort of do it my way, right? A raw vegan version. And so that's what I'm sharing with you today, is a raw vegan version of some lemon tarts that are absolutely mind-blowing, made by a beautiful woman in Oregon named Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. I love you. So here goes a very healthier version. Of course, these still have sugar, these still have fat, they have nuts. These are not something we want to be eating all the time. It's still dessert. So you'll notice that when I make the tarts, I'm using quite a small, this is a 2 1/4 inch round. For those of you who could care less about how cute the little tarts are, and you're just going to eat them, don't waste your time pressing them into tarts. Instead, take a 9 by 9 glass brownie pan and press the nut mixture that we're going to use as the tart base. Press that mixture into the 9 by 9 pan, and then you'll be able to frost the top, put it in the refrigerator, slice it into squares, and you can serve it just like lemon bars. So it'll taste just as good. I'm just going to try to make these a little cute for you because you're special. Okay, so let's jump in and first make the crust, the bottom of the lemon tart. And so to do that, we're going to use macadamia nuts. Creamy, buttery, delicious. I mean, these things ground up taste like pie crust anyway, if you ask me. So we're going to use these for what would be butter if we were making a typical crust. And then to give it some flour-like texture, a drier texture, we're going to add some coconut, some dried coconut. And even more of a floury texture comes from the Sun Warrior Vanilla Protein Powder. I love the taste of this protein powder. I mean, you can just take and blend it with some orange juice and ice and you've got like a healthy version of Orange Julius, right? It's delicious stuff. But here, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to give us a little more flour-like texture, right? Which we appreciate. We want an option to simulate some things we might miss, some desserts from the sort of conventional cooking world. The other thing is, because this does have sugar, right? We're going to sweeten it here with some dried pineapple, and then the frosting is going to be quite sweet. It has raw honey in it. So we have this sort of wave of sugar coming through when we eat this dessert. And because we're adding the protein, we know that we're going to sustain that sugar high, or not go so high, and we're going to sustain the sugars longer. So I love the addition of the protein powder in this dessert. Okay, so our crust needs to be sweet. So to sweeten it, we are adding some pineapple, some dehydrated pineapple, dried pineapple. Now, you really want to watch your dried pineapple. You got to look at the ingredients on that stuff. Even if you're buying it in bulk, they have an organic version. You want to get the one with the simplest ingredients possible, but you got to watch in there. Some of them put some extra dye and some preservatives and all kinds of junk. You don't need any of that junk, okay? So now, to make our mixture moist, we're going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now, this is a full 4 tablespoons. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need, right? Every batch of macadamia nuts can be a little drier, a little more oily, a little more moist. We don't know yet. So we're just going to start with half of this, and then I'm going to pulse it, and we're going to add some more, okay? So let's add roughly half. We'll just sort of eyeball it here. And then once we have that in there, we're going to put the top of the food processor on, and we're going to give it some pulses. Again, we never want to just turn this thing on. All the stuff's going to fly to the outside and to the top. We're going to have a big mess. We're not going to have all the ingredients. So try pulsing nice and slow. And once you get sort of a crumbly mixture that looks relatively consistent, you know you can just turn it on and let it go. Smells so good and lemony. Okay, we're getting a little dough ball here, just like our crust would if we were making a true crust. That's a good sign. But unlike crust, which we sort of want to ball up in the food processor, and if you haven't cheated and made crust in your food processor, you ought to check that out. That's definitely a little shortcut. My daughter's the baker in our family, and she showed me that trick. Let's get this going. And we want our mixture nice and even, right? Because with the crust, you don't want it to overmix because you're gonna have to roll it out. We're not rolling this out, so we need it very even. Okay, perfect. There's our dough ball. So the difference being we want to make sure that our mixture is really well blended before we let it sort of roll up into a ball to become the crust for the lemon bars, or what we're making is little lemon tarts. So you may have to do this if you have especially if you kind of have a cheapy or an old food processor. Break that ball up into 3, 4, 5 bits, spread it around in a circle, and just keep pulsing until you know that the dough mixture itself is fully incorporated. You're not going to have huge chunks of macadamia or huge chunks of the dried pineapple. So once you have this nice even ball, I'm going to turn this out into a bowl so you can see the right consistency. There we go. There we go. Our blade's going to come right out in there. That's okay. Okay. Now there's 2 reasons we have to be really meticulous about getting the all of the dough out of the food processor. 1, because it's yummy and macadamia nuts are expensive and we want to make sure we don't waste them. The other reason is we're not even going to wash this pan out or this food processor out in order to make the frosting. We're going to go ahead, or the topping, we're just going to go ahead and use this as is. So we want to get in here and get all this crust, all this dough right in here. Okay. Okay. Oh, I wish you guys were here. The smell of the kitchen right now is just amazing because I've zested all these lemons and then squeezed them, so they smell heavenly. Okay, so now we have a very clean, as clean as we can get without licking it clean or running it through the wash, food processor in here. And now we're going to make the frosting. While the frosting is whipping up, we'll get the tartlets ready to go. And then all we have to do is put the topping on and put them either in the refrigerator if you want to chill them, or top them with blueberries. So let's go ahead and get everything in for the topping. So we're going to need a base of coconut oil. So we have 3/4 cup of coconut oil. So there again, we said we have some fat, we have some sugar in here. But remember, these are healthy fats, great for your skin. It's so funny because people trip out about the fats in coconut oil or in coconuts in general. Like I have some girlfriends who won't eat the meat of their young coconuts when they drink them because they're so worried about the weight, their cholesterol, that sort of thing. But it's interesting, societies who eat coconut fat, like, eat young coconuts, so they're eating the meat of the young coconut all the time. They're cooking with coconut oil, moisturize their skin with coconut oil. They don't have higher cholesterol. So you got to wonder about if it's actually that type of, fat that is causing the problem. My guess would be no. Okay. We're going to get our lemon juice in here. I added, so far we have the lemon, the coconut, and the raw honey. And now we want the lemon zest. Now this is the zest of 2 lemons, and then we're going to turn around and juice those 2 lemons. Now if you're juicing those by hand on a little juice squeezy, I'm going to tell you a little trick. Once you zest them, they become a little slippery and hard to juice. So just throw a tea towel over the lemon that has had the zest taken off. Put a tea towel on top. You'll be able to squeeze it and get the juice out, no problem. Now we need a pinch of salt. And we are going to pulse this up and it'll be good to go. Now you want to go slow with this, right? Because we don't want it to get too overly incorporated. We want to incorporate it all, right? But we don't want to turn it into a mash. We want to be able to see those little bits of lemon rind in that frosting. Perfect. Now, the topping for your tarts is going to come out a little bit different depending on where you live and how hot it is. I am in San Diego, and today we're having a massive, massive heat wave. So my coconut oil is gonna be a little bit softer than it would usually be. If it was cold outside, which you know it rarely is here in San Diego, but if it was cooler, if the overall temperature was cooler, I would have a much firmer result. So don't worry if yours comes out a little bit different. It's actually gonna be better if it still has some body. See, mine's quite liquidy. And taste for sweetness. Okay, perfect. I like it that sweet. If you want it to be sweeter, you can go ahead and add more raw honey. Make sure that you are using a raw honey. It's gonna have a lot more body. It's gonna help the frosting have more body as well. Okay, now because we have our frosting that is really liquidy from the heat, we're gonna wanna refrigerate these tarts before we serve them. Now, for those of you who are pouring your crust into the 9x9 glass pan, go ahead and press that into the glass pan and then pour this topping right over the top. Stick them in the refrigerator, slice them up, and you're gonna be ready to go. Those of us who are doing the tarts, we have one extra step. We're gonna go ahead and take a little tart shape and we're gonna press this right into here. So let me just get this. We want about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons in here. I'm gonna press this right on my plate so we know I have a smooth bottom. If you're gonna be making a bunch of these and serving them, the best thing to make the tarts on is a cookie sheet that you have greased with a little bit of coconut oil. And that way, when you go to move the tarts from one fixture to another, they're gonna come out really easily, no problems. Okay, so we've got our tart shape here. I'm gonna actually make sure we have a little shell. Perfect. Okay, so we have our little tart shape here. So this is pressed in, and we're gonna take our lemon tart frosting. And again, if you're the much better thing to do in this heat would have been to put it in a 9-inch by 9-inch pan so that I could just pass this to the refrigerator, real smooth, real quick and easy, but this is gonna look really pretty. So we're gonna get it nice and full there. Now you notice how there was a little indent in the tart. So when I pressed it, I used my thumbs and I got a little bit of a bowl, right? So just a little bit of a vessel for me to fill with the cream. And then I would go ahead and refrigerate this and then we would go ahead and decorate it with our blueberries. But since you're here, show me, I just wanna have you see what it'll look like when it's done. Perfect. We're gonna refrigerate these. And again, if you're making the whole thing, if you're making your whole batch into tarts right now, you do that on a cookie sheet that's greased with coconut oil, and then you'll just be able to move each one onto the plate with a spatula when you're done. And a beautiful presentation with this is to add some fresh mint, a little slice of lemon, and get these served up for dessert. I'm gonna go ahead and refrigerate these so we can enjoy them, and I hope you enjoy your fresh lemon tarts.